Hi, everybody. I'm James Green,
I'm Younis.
and so we're going to be giving a talk called "Batman is Not a Career Strategy," and it's a little bit of Cody Bunch humor. I was joking about how I wanted to give a tech talk, but I didn't know what to talk about, and that's what he said I should talk about. So he was kidding, but I went ahead and signed up for it with that name there. So we're just going to do a little bit of that. That's a joke, but we're going to give some serious career strategy advice. I am. Ahmad's not serious. Ahmad's never been serious.
No, I'm Batman.
So cool. We have tons of ideas, but we narrowed it down to 10. So first idea is invest in a lab, which is carefully worded because I said build a lab, but Ahmad was quick to point out that you could also pay for a hosted lab, or there's a number of different solutions. So
Right. So you don't have to actually physically have a lab stationed in your home. There's other means to learning besides those options, right? So Revelo is one solution, right?
Yep.
Bare Metal is another way to host your lab as well.
Yep. So I do a bunch of my own testing with Revelo systems. If you happen to be a V expert, they let you in there to play around, complimentary to, and they benefit from it too by the feedback we give them. So that's an awesome way if you don't have the means to build yourself something local. But what do you primarily do?
So I kind of have both options, right? I have my own personal lab at home. I'm fortunate enough to have a lab actually at work as well. And I also use Revelo for some testing. So
Sweet.
Best
So
of both worlds.
Either way, it's good to get some practice in, right? Dressed apart. So we were talking about this earlier. He was saying, I don't know if that's. My experience has been that if I dress up just a little bit more than I would have to, I interact with people differently. I am received differently, and like wearing a Batman shirt will give you a little bit of different impression than wearing a suit. Right?
What's cooler than being Batman?
So nothing's cooler than being Batman.
There you go.
What's the saying? Like dress for the job you want to have, or something like that.
Or
I don't know if that's
dress
true.
for success, maybe.
Yeah, something
There you
like that. But I can say from my own experience, add just a little bit more than where you would have to go, and that'll be good for you.
So invest in your education, right? So who better to guide you in your career than yourself, right? You're going to have to invest in yourself because no one else will. So there's a lot of free online training. There's paid for training like Pluralsight. There's blogs. So there's all kinds of means to learn out there, and you need to take advantage of that because no one else is going to provide that for you.
Yeah. I love Pluralsight, huge fan of Pluralsight, so if you're not familiar with that, check it out. Anecdotally, before Pluralsight was acquired, or before TrainSignal was acquired by Pluralsight, I bought a TrainSignal course on vSphere for like, I don't know, $300 or something, and that started me down the path that ultimately landed me here. So super useful. Check out Pluralsight. They have a booth over in the Solutions Exchange, so stop by there and talk to them if you haven't as well.
I'm Batman.
This is kind of a new one for me, but I've been finding that what's been really helpful in my career is to learn things that I wouldn't need to, because it helps me understand other people better. So, for instance, the whole DevOps area of this hang space, you can learn some things where you may not need those day to day, but if it can help you understand how somebody you may be interacting with, or in my case, selling to, thinks and does business, it can make you credible, and it can help you find opportunity. So my example, I just did a blog series on Vagrant. I don't really use Vagrant in my day-to-day work, but I see how that would be very useful to some people, and I can find opportunities and help them out.
Yeah, for me it was kind of jumping in and learning OpenStack. So I deployed VMware's integrated OpenStack, and that kind of killed two birds with one stone, right? I was able to use my current VMware skill sets and actually on top of that learn OpenStack. So it's always good to kind of go outside of your comfort zone and learn new things, because that can actually, it's definitely going to help you in your career. So know your roadmap, right? I mean, we get roadmaps from companies all the time gauging, okay, where they're going to be for the next 5 to 10 years, right? But you have to create your own roadmap. So do you want to start off as, an engineer? Do you want to go into marketing? Do you want to go into, product marketing? I mean, whatever your role, your future role is, kind of develop a roadmap, and those are goals that you can set to.
Yeah, and Batman is an option as long as you're planning for it, right? Yeah, so set a goal, and then you can know these 6 steps are what I need to take to get there, because if you don't have a goal, you can't work towards it. So related to that, once I've set that goal, then I need to have ways to measure myself. So in my experience, one of those things has been certifications. I have a lot of friends who say, I find no value in certifications, it's a waste of my time, whatever. For me, it's been a way to measure, am I actually as knowledgeable as I think I am? And it also happens to prove that to other people. But for me, that's been a way to measure myself. And there's plenty of other ways, but I've found that to be a good one.
I think, every 3 to 6 months you sit down and kind of take some notes, reflect, see, have you reached the goals that you set out to accomplish? And if so, then you move on. If not, then you need to kind of reevaluate. So, every 6 to, 12 months, you need to kind of sit down and reflect.
Right. So, I don't know how long ago it was, maybe 3-4 years ago, somebody who's an acquaintance of mine who was employed at a small church and not super happy with what he was doing, who today is a very successful entrepreneur. He said, draw out exactly how you want your life to look, and then all the time be making incremental shifts towards that, instead of expecting that you can just wholesale pick up your life and move it from this way to that way. And so I found that to be very good advice. In the last year, one thing that I've always thought would be nice was to work from home. And that's in my list of here's how my perfect day looks. And so I was able to make that little shift. And I didn't completely change my life, but I work from home now, and it looks a little bit more like my ideal.
So identify your motivations and your passion. I think they kind of go hand in hand, right? Because if you're not passionate about what you do, you're not going to be motivated, right? So if you're in a job and you're kind of feeling, then you're not going to produce at that job. So make sure that whatever you're doing, you're really passionate about, and the motivation will come.
I think you can do it so much better too if you're focused on something that you're passionate about. So for the last 3-4 years, that's been anything VMware makes. A little bit of a fanboy. But if and when I decided,
not that we're at VMworld or anything, right?
Yeah, right. Free ticket next year. When I decided that, though, I was kind of a general sysadmin trying to be all things to all people, and I don't think I would have accomplished as much if I were trying to do it across all technologies. Focusing on VMware has been really good for my career.
Yeah. Help. No. Ask for help, right? So don't be ashamed to reach out to anybody if you're not comfortable in what you're doing or don't understand something. It's always good to ask for help. There's no shame in that. And you can actually, the person helping you will learn as well as yourself.
And people are super willing to help, which is easy to forget. But I mean, so like I said, one of my things that I measure myself by is certifications. Next up for me would be VCDX, and so I've been sitting, talked to Tim, talked to Hersey the other day. If I asked Eric, I'm
That's
sure he would
Mr.
help
128 to you.
You can't call him by name. You got to call him by his number. But they're, super, super nice guys, totally willing to help me. So if it's not certification for you, maybe it's a particular technology. Talk to the guy who knows everything there is to know about Exchange, because he wants to help you and he'll be happy to share his knowledge.
And then finally, get involved in the community. So whether it's vBrownbag, whether it's going to meetups, whether it's getting in a forum and responding and helping others out, whatever way you can get involved, make sure you jump in and get involved.
Yep. I don't have anything to add to that. You guys are super valuable. You've been valuable to my career, and so if you're not super plugged in, all these people are awesome. Get plugged in. All the people who are probably watching, awesome. Get plugged in. Cool. Thanks.
I'm Batman.